The following podcast is a next level production.
You're whole again.
I felt it come back when
When you sacrificed yourself for Siri.
A sacrifice I'd make again. In a heartbeat.
I don't forgive you, Yennefer.
I know I've hurt you. Yet I can't help but wish it could begin again.
Use your knowledge of magic to train the girl. You're the only person who's helped to control her powers.
As if I'd trust anyone else with her.
Villain Tread and Mirth told us we were made for each other. Destined for each other. And that nothing would come of it. Because destiny alone is insufficient. Something more is needed.
Hey panelers, welcome back to the show. I'm Steve.
I'm Lara.
And this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast about the 8th episode of The Witcher Season 2, the season finale.
Woohoo!
Oh, entitled Family. So, Lara, why don't you give us our synopsis?
Sure. Geralt faces off with a demon, targeting his nearest and dearest, while the most powerful players on the continent ramp up their pursuit of Ciri.
It's a pretty good one. I think I can go with that. That's a pretty good synopsis.
No spoilers in it.
No spoilers in it. Leaves out a little bit, but before we get into our initial thoughts, let's go back to our new faces in places. And I think this first one is really, really cool that you picked up on. I did not pick up on the name, so it's Philippa, and this is the recurring character in a new form. We found out that Dystra's pet owl is actually an animagus, nod to the Harry Potter fans. I don't know what that means. Is that a person who turns into an animal? An animagus?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And she turns out to be the perfect spy.
Yeah, and we also get a brief appearance of Maeve, one of the rulers of the North and a new member of the Brotherhood.
Okay, that was the young female who was on the council there at the end. Great.
Yeah, who said that life was easier when Ciri was dead.
Yeah, I caught that this time. The second time around, I caught that. I didn't catch it the first time around. So, and we get a little bit of an update here that the temple school with Ninika that Geralt and Ciri went to is called the Temple of Militella.
Militelli. I heard Yennefer say it at the very beginning.
Okay, Militelli. Okay, nice. So, what were your initial thoughts for this one?
I thought this was the most bitchin' finale episode. It was so full of action and total mic drop moments that I'm sure we'll get into, and great creatures, I got my wish of a Witcher battle, so I loved it.
Yes, it was great. I loved it. And on the second watch, I think I appreciated more a lot of the bits that got kind of tied up for us. Not answered, but there were things that we were wondering about that kind of got answered for us. And like when I came off my initial watch, there was a couple of things that I didn't pay enough attention in my first watch that I caught some of the things. So in the second watch, when things happened, that I went, oh, okay, now that makes sense. So it was really, really good. I'm with you. Very action packed. I can't wait to get into our discussion of this one. We'll see where it goes. So with that, we will go into our top 5 here.
Geralt! Look, I know this means nothing to you, but I understand now how special she is. When Chaos left me, I never thought that I'd feel that spark, that life again, but Ciri, she radiates it. At Militelli's, when I helped her control it. When she opened that portal under my direction, I felt like...
I know how it feels, Yennefer.
I don't know what Valismir wants from Ciri, but we have to protect her.
I have to protect her.
Lara, why don't you kick us off?
All right. My highlight number 5, again, was that I got my wish of a Witcher battle. We finally got to see all the Witchers in action, fighting against giant basilisks, they called them, but they honestly looked like mutated velociraptors to me. What'd you think? That's what they look like to me when I saw them. I'm like, those look like velociraptors with a whole bunch of like scales and stuff hanging off of them.
I didn't really think about it. They just kind of looked like some sort of dinosaur creature to me. Especially that last one that Geralt got to tangle with there was pretty cool. Yeah, it was great to see all of them with their black eyes, and Vesemir tells them, go get as many potions as you can, and I'll drop down to this because this was one of mine that I really enjoyed this battle that we get, because like you said, we get to see them kind of fighting coordinated, but we lose at least 2, maybe 3. I'm not even sure. One guy got his face just bitten off, and he lands in front of Jaskier, and you just see this open wound face that's and of course we get the reveal that we've been trying to figure out, and you kind of had figured it out, but I think we got the reveal of it, that it wasn't when Ciri uses magic, it was whenever Ciri screamed that one of these monsters came out, and we find out that that's because she was actually calling them forth with her screams. Yeah. So
she basically opens a portal to other realms and just draws them in.
Exactly. Through those monoliths, which we find out that the tree is actually the Witcher tree is a monolith also. Crazy. Yeah. And I didn't pick up on it until the second watch, but it was the pain of Redania losing all their babies that gives Ciri this, or gives the Deathless Mother enough power within Ciri that her scream drew out one of the biggest monsters ever. I didn't pick up on it until the second watch, because it's right after those. We'll talk more about that when we get there. But the elves are there in Redania, and all the babies are crying. Then all of a sudden, they're not. Yeah, and it cuts right to Ciri letting out, like changing, like her expression kind of changes a little bit, like she realized something. Yeah. And then suddenly she lets out a scream, and this ginormous white basilisk comes out of the tree and just starts battling with Geralt. And that was such a great, that fight where he's pushing the sword through the thing's skull, and then he throws it off the side of the parapet. I thought, oh, this is just amazing. So yeah, it was incredible. I love that fight scene for sure.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice that point of all the babies dying and her gaining such an enormous amount of power, because I could tell, you can tell every time she gained powers, her eyes would glow even greener. Like when she was killing the Witchers in their beds, she'd stare at them and watch them as they died, and she'd absorb that pain from them. And when she was standing there fighting all the Witchers, it was Geralt who realized, oh, our hatred is feeding her. She's feeding off of this hatred. That's why Ciri can't escape. We're making her more powerful by trying to fight her.
Yeah. And like I said, it wasn't until the second watch that I really noticed that, like I said, there's a beat there between when the babies stop crying and before Ciri lets out that scream, that there's some sort of a change to her expression. Like I said, I think her eyes do go, and, yeah, so that was one of mine as well. So what's your next one?
My next one goes right into the point that you were making, and that is Francesca gives 0 fucks now. Her baby is dead, and she doesn't even, Dara basically admits that he was a spy for Redania, and that now that he told them that he wasn't going to be a spy for them anymore, they said that they had other ways of getting to Nilfgaard. So she instantly assumes that means that they are the ones who killed her baby. She doesn't stop to think if there's any other possible motives, like maybe the fact that the elves weren't going to fight for Nilfgaard anymore. She just instantly gets angry. She's just playing off of her hatred. They steal some horses and they ride off for Redania.
Yeah, I had part of this in one of mine as well, so I'll go right into it. Is Dara, he's got this remorse over the baby dying, and for a second there when he was talking, I almost thought maybe he was the one that killed the baby, but no, that's not the case. We do find out, though, it really seemed kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say anticlimactic, but kind of yada yada, that basically all Dykstra did was lie to him and say, "Oh no, I don't want to do anything to the elves. I just want to do something to Nilfgaard." And that was enough for Dara to go, "Oh, okay, I'll spy for you." And I'm like, "Really? That was your recruitment speech?"
I still think he let him go. He offered to do it just to be let out of prison, because he does tell Francesca that he was in that prison, and who knows how bad life was in that Redanian prison. Just to be let out and to have his freedom back, he might have paid and offered to spy, because Dykstra did lie to him and say that he was just trying to spy on Redania. He didn't think he had any ill wish towards the elves, and maybe he didn't. Maybe he doesn't care. He just wants to know what's going on.
Yeah. But and this leads right into what the whole point of Francesca's baby dying leads us into. It was an interesting conversation between Cahir and Fringilla, because the impression I got the first time I watched it was that Cahir had killed the baby and was basically telling Fringilla, I'm going to give you credit for it with the Emir when he shows up, so that we can still get further because you've killed all these other generals. But then in this one, we discover who actually killed the baby, and we'll talk about that later. But we realize that Cahir didn't do it. So either Cahir just assumed Fringilla had done it, and Fringilla assumed Cahir had done it. And so they both just kind of agreed to, well, we'll be in cahoots together about killing this baby, but neither one of us is actually going to admit that we did it or something. So it was a little unclear, but I understand the writers had to misdirect us away from the Emir being the one, and who he was. But it was one of those things that it made me pause to go, come on.
I kind of liked that misdirect, though, because I thought the same thing. The way that Cahir was speaking with Francesca, I totally thought that he might have done it, and he was giving her credit so that they could be kind of partners in this elaborate scheme, and they both would be raised up in the eyes of Emir.
But of course, we find out at the end that that's not the case. That
it's too delicious to say. We have to save it.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. That it's. I had it in my point, but we'll leave it out. But I will finish up this point with this. How powerful is Francesca?
Yes. That's was crazy.
That's like biblical.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought too. When I saw it, I'm like, this is like the Passover in Egypt, except opposite, So every door she marked, every child was killed.
Yeah. Oh, just heartbreaking.
She was the angel of death. And she's got to be super powerful to be able to do that to hundreds of babies, maybe thousands.
Yeah. So that was one of mine as well. So what's your next one?
Let me see here. We got, how about Ciri's dream prison that Volith Mir puts her in? Is that one of your points too?
Yes, it is. I got a bunch about it. So go with what you got.
Well, it's awesome because we get some returning characters. We get Mousak and we get Calanthe, but no Grandpa Einst. That was a bummer. I would have liked to see him, but maybe the actor wasn't available. They're kind of repeating, and this episode had a few callbacks to season 1, but they almost repeat that dance scene because Martin, the guy who comes and requests a dance with her, I went back and checked, and it is the same boy who asks her in season 1 if she'd like to dance. And of course, in season 1, she was very reluctant to dance with him because I don't think she's that attracted to him, and she just is not up for it. But this time she just jumps at the chance to do it because she's just so happy to be back at home and back with her family. We get Mousak back, and I'll let you go on with some of your points, and then I'll see if you cover this one.
Okay, for sure, because that opening that kind of leads throughout the whole episode really was one of my big points here. I was faked out for a second about whether we were seeing a flashback, because I didn't remember the exact scene from earlier. I'm assuming it's in of Banquet's Bastards and Burials, because that's the one where we had this incident happen. But yeah, it was really, really cool. But then as soon as I saw her see that dagger as she's walking by, I realized we're flipping, that it was editing back and forth between the dream state and the reality. And so we see those crazy eyes like you talked about earlier when she puts the knife through two of the Witcher's heads and she just watches them die. And then she's about to kill Vesemir when Geralt comes in. And, I loved, there was a moment there where I thought Geralt was going to fall for it. Mm-hmm. But he picks up on it pretty quickly that this is the Deathless Mother getting her revenge on maybe not the exact Witchers who imprisoned her, but definitely getting some revenge on the Witchers for putting her in prison. Mm-hmm. And, as it continued on, it was an interesting look at the history. Like you said, she changes up what happened in that she does go and dance and she starts to enjoy herself. And as she's enjoying herself, she sees her mother and her father, which is going to foreshadow some things at the end as well for us. But I love that once she knew that she was being trapped and she was being used, even though she didn't have the power to pull herself out, her non-blood family had that power. And we'll talk more about Yennefer later on. But I just love the fact that it's one of those things, and I've talked about it before, being retired military, that for me, non-blood family is huge. I have hardly ever been close to my blood family. I mean, I am close to my blood family. Don't take me like I'm not, but I've never been in proximity to them. Maybe that's the way I should explain it. I've never really lived in proximity with my blood family. So I've always had to build up around me that non-blood family. And sometimes those ties are just as strong, if not stronger. And that's what we see here when we see the Witchers gathering together to call Ciri out of that dream state.
Yeah, I love that scene too. They're all like, come back to us, Ciri. It wasn't just Geralt. They're all like, we need you, come back. They're like her brothers, and it's so sweet. I loved it. I also noticed there was a part where Geralt is talking to Ciri and she can hear him and it starts to disrupt the dream. And Ciri turns around and Mousak, did you recognize what Mousak was?
What was he? I saw that he changed. Was it the shapeshifter?
Yeah, he was the doppelganger.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, that he changed it. So as that dream starts to turn dark, that's when she started to be pulled back out of it. So yeah, that was a cool transition and edit there to see her. She suddenly sees the doppelganger for a second, and then it goes back to being Mousak.
Yes. And I liked that, she kept asking questions about her family and stuff, and he was dodging the question, and I don't know if it's because Volithmir just doesn't know, so she can't put it into the dream, or if she was just trying to keep her in there longer and keep her questioning what's going on so she wouldn't leave.
Yeah, I think it was really not answering the questions was trying to keep her in the dream, because if you answer too many of the questions, then she's going to be out of it. She's going to be taken out of the dream, I think. So
yeah. But that was great because, all of us have points in our life where I'm sure we want to go back to a happy time in life and just stay there. And that was her temptation, stay there. And like Geralt said, he's like, we are your family. We're not perfect, but we are real.
Oh, I love that line so much, that we aren't perfect, but we're real, was great. Because that was the whole thing there at the end, when you start to see them start to fade and turn into powder, is she's starting to realize that this is not real.
Yeah, they were Thanos snapped out of that universe.
Yes, they were.
And there was I'll save that note for later.
Okay.
A little Easter egg that was in that scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go on to your next point then.
My next point is the wild hunt. So, Ciri eventually gets dragged out of her dream prison, and immediately they have to find a way to get Volithmir out of Yennefer and out of this world. And so Geralt recommends to her that if she can pull monsters out of the monoliths, then she can certainly put them back in. So she screams again, opens a portal, and they're back on that kind of red planet that they were on when she was in, what was that, the Dordutha with Triss, you know,
yes,
where she saw the
Dordutha.
elf.
Right.
Yeah, so they're back in that world, it seems. And Volithmir is flying away, and here we see the Wild Hunt coming towards us.
Yes, and I had this as one of my quotes. I thought, because it was so good, I wanted to write it down. Was when as they're riding, as that rider appears on his horse, he says, "Child of the elder blood, starry-eyed daughter of chaos, join our hunt. Your place is among us. You are ours."
Yeah, that was very foreboding, and they looked hideous. They looked like, I don't know how many there were, but they were like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, or like the ring wraiths from Lord of the Rings. I mean, they're partially spectral, but I think as they get close to you, they seem a little more, solid. Because they were about to grab Ciri, and then she grabs Geralt and Yennefer's hands and luckily portals them back to Kaer Morhen.
Kaer Morhen, yeah. And I wasn't sure in that scene if it was Ciri doing a portal or Yennefer doing a portal. I couldn't tell which one it was.
Pretty sure it was Ciri.
Okay.
I don't think Yennefer can portal to other worlds. I think she can portal in their world.
In their world, right. Okay. Good. So yeah, my next one kind of leads right into that, and that is the rift that we see at the beginning between Yennefer and Geralt. I mean, he's very what's the word I'm searching for? Not stoic, but he's very just dismissive almost of her when she says something about they're going to protect Ciri, and Geralt says, "No, I'm going to protect Ciri."
You mean the divide between him and Yennefer?
Yennefer, yes. Did I say Ciri?
Yeah, I think you said Ciri.
Yeah, the rift between Geralt and Yennefer, and I just love that he talks about her betrayal, but then I love how they turn it back, and not only do they turn it back, but again, these are one of those callbacks to season 1 when she breaks that bottle and she puts that shard and she goes back to those scars, because remember when she had herself changed from the ugly kind of, hunchback that she was to the beautiful Yennefer that we have today, one of the things that she specified was, I want to keep my scars. Attempted suicide scars.
Yeah.
And so she does those same cuts, and then she starts to say that spell, and it goes back to my other point about the Witchers are then calling her back, and it gives kind of it gives the spell more strength. In order for Yennefer to be able to pull Volithmir out of Ciri and into herself. But I just loved that part where, again, they're kind of turning to dust, and Ciri makes that final statement, "I have to go home."
Yes.
It just gave me chills, because it's just one of those things that this whole episode was all about home. And we've been almost in this season, maybe searching for a home. And it's unfortunate that at the end there, Geralt says, "Well, I'm going to have to leave with Ciri. I can't stay here. We can't have a home because she's still being chased." But it sounds like we're at least going to get our trio together to where, because Yennefer's going to train her up with magic and Geralt's going to protect. So I'm excited for season 3.
And I'm really hoping crazy fun Uncle Jaskier gets to join them as well.
Gets to join them. Yeah. At least, yeah. Ooh, hopefully we'll see. We may talk some more about that. I think I've got something in my notes. So
yeah. So I love that Yennefer scene too. It was part of my discussion about the whole battle. That's another callback to season 1. Not only the scars on her wrists, but her offering herself as a vessel, because in the episode with the Djinn, she does a spell where she tries to become the vessel for the Djinn.
Okay, right. I forgot about that. I do remember that now. So that's good.
Yeah, and then of course her sacrifice brings her magic back, which was awesome, because I mean, she's proven that she doesn't completely need it, but I can't watch a Witcher without Yennefer having magic, because she is an amazing sorceress.
Yeah, and she has to have her place in the if you've ever played D&D, you've got to have a mage, a warrior, and a healer. You've got to have those. You've got to have each piece of the puzzle together. You can't go without. So,
and a funny bard.
Mage. Exactly, and a funny bard. I have no idea where we're at.
I'm at my number one, and I have a feeling it's similar to your number one.
It might be, but go with yours.
Okay, we get the finale, that mic drop moment where we're following the Emperor. The Emperor Emir has finally arrived in Sintra. He's talking to Frangilla and Kahir, and they're trying to play off that this whole death of the elven baby, which led to the elves raiding Redania, taking care of another one of their enemies. This was all their idea. This was their whole plot. And the Emperor turns around, has them arrested because he says he cannot trust them anymore, and he says he needs to find his daughter because the Emperor is Dooney.
Yes, Dooney. Again, I mentioned it earlier, season 1, episode 4 of I got the title right here, of Banquets, Bastards, and Burials. So, yes, very, very interesting, the return. And I did check IMDb also. It is the same actor. Mm-hmm. So, it's definitely, I wanted to go back and rewatch that episode to see, because I thought they died at the end, but maybe it was unclear that the parents died at the end. I'm not sure.
No,
maybe
they didn't die at the end. I think it's mentioned between either Mousak and Calanthe, or Calanthe and someone. Maybe it's when she's talking to Geralt. She tells him how she lost her daughter in a shipwreck, and that they died at sea.
Right. Okay. So we just, that, and I'm assuming, and I had a question about this, because after I watched it the first time, I just assumed who the person was that Rents and Lydia were meeting at the end was Dunny, the Emir. But now after the second watch, I'm not 100% sure if it was the same.
I don't think I have a theory who I think it is, but
okay.
I didn't think it. Well, after we found out that the Emperor was Dooney, I didn't believe that that's who that's who the employer was. And I thought we were going to get to see him, but we didn't. But I'm going to throw in my guess that it is Vilgeforth. Because that dude is shady.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. But I was very surprised to see Lydia with her face all messed up.
Oh, man.
And
she's worse than Rents.
Yeah, and speaking telepathically, because it looks like she can't move her mouth or something. So, So, that part, that's one of those things that we'll have to get wrapped up or they'll have to show us in the next season, keep us wanting for more. One of those questions we did. So, my number one was kind of that same thing, the reveal of Dunny, but also kind of talking about where everybody's at there at the end, because we see, Vesemir is collecting up the necklaces so he can add them to, I guess they're going to put the tree back together, or a new tree. I don't know. But we see that, like you said, Yennefer gets her power back, and I love then we get this little kind of a coda with the elves where they're at their camp, and you can tell Francesca is still burning. Francesca is ready to still be on the warpath, and because they bring in Istrid, and she's just like, just kill him. Just kill him. He's a human. We're not going to have anything to do with humans, period. And she said that same vague line that we kind of talked about before. She said, since the humans arrived, we thought they would be different, but they haven't. And we dug our own graves with them. But, then Istrid, and this was one of the things that I didn't catch the first viewing. I'm glad I caught it on the second viewing, is they went back to the Hin Iker, the prophesied elven warrior princess, that now the elves know that Ciri is of elder blood. And so he says something like, well, she's of elder blood. She's like you, but she's not like you, or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see in the next season how they bring that in. And bring it. So I was really, and then of course we see that the owl is there watching them, and we get the reveal when that owl goes back to Dijkstra that now Dijkstra knows that Ciri is is not just the princess of Sintra, but she's also this prophesied whatever that the elves are seeking. And then we see, we talked a little bit about it at the beginning. We get the mage council deciding to put a bounty out there on Ciri. So now the mages are against her, and even Geralt says that, the mages are if the mages know she's still out there and around, they're going to come looking for her. So.
And that was interesting to see Tissaia on the council there telling them. And she didn't seem to have a problem with putting a bounty on Ciri's head, even though she knows that she was with the Witcher that was looking for Yennefer. So she knows that Yennefer may somehow, be tied up with this. And also, she didn't seem to have a problem with it.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here, what next season brings us. But that's all I had. What are some of the notes that we haven't talked about already?
Well, also Dijkstra said something very interesting to Philippa. He said that, get me the bard. He needs to meet his benefactor.
Yes, thank you. I was going to bring that up when you talked about Jaskier being part of our trio, and hopefully being in the next season. And I was like, well, hopefully he'll be in the next season. So, yeah. No,
he'll definitely be in the next season. I think they need to play that story out about him and Dijkstra and their relationship. I've got some questions too about Dooney. So I believe, so this was the Easter egg I mentioned, is when we're in Ciri's dream and we see everyone starting to turn to dust as she's leaving the dream. We see Calanthe, Mousesack, and Pavetta start to turn to dust, but I watched it on a second watch just to make sure, and we don't see Dooney start to turn to dust at all. Because he's not dead.
Right.
But that apparently means Pavetta is, because I thought, well, if Dooney's alive, is Pavetta alive? But she started turning into dust, just like Calanthe and Mousesack did.
I didn't catch that on either watch, that he didn't turn to dust. That's a good catch, because that would mean also that she had a bit of prophecy or foreshadowing in her dream, even then, knowing that, or somehow maybe her subconscious knowing that he is alive, or some sort of magic thing. But interesting. So
if he's alive, why? And I'm sure these are questions for season 3, which is why I'm very excited for season 3. Why did he never go back to Sintra for Ciri? And why does he try to destroy Sintra and his mother-in-law in order to get Ciri back? I mean, if he's her rightful father, why could he not just go back to Sintra and say, give me my daughter?
Well, yeah, and that explains why, if people knew why Nilfgaard knew before everybody else what Ciri was. So I don't know. Yeah, and they may have to explain. It may be something as simple as he had to build up his power. He didn't think he could just walk back in and take her back. Maybe he felt he had to build up his power to where he'd be able to take over.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Well, we do know.
I mean, we know that Calanthe wasn't a big fan of his. She didn't really want her daughter marrying him.
Well, and we know that he hasn't been in power for a long time. Remember, because he's the usurper. He overthrew whoever the king was that Fringilla went there to serve.
Yeah.
Because remember that king put her in the house, and they were just used as playthings. We talked about that. And then this guy came in and broke them out. So it may not have been very long that he's been there or had power there. So maybe they'll show us that in season 3, how he came to power in Redania.
Nilfgaard?
No, I'm sorry. Not in Nilfgaard.
It's so confusing. There's so many places. It is. And it's only getting bigger.
Yeah, how he came to power in Nilfgaard. So, have we any other quotes that we haven't mentioned yet?
Some of my notes were, the funniest thing is, it always seems like Jaskier's eating something. He went to the dwarf encampment and put something in his mouth that he immediately spit out. But then when he and Yennefer are in the Witcher laboratory, and you're standing in a Witcher laboratory and you're sitting there eating things out of the bowl. I don't think that's real safe, Jaskier.
I did think it was funny that he was like, every time I wake up, every time you wake me up, something bad happens or something like that. And so, and she's like, wait, did you say possessed? And then like when he walks into the room and he says, how does he, I didn't write it down, but he says, Yennefer told me to tell you shit.
You're busy. I'll just go.
Yeah. So I thought it was funny. Any other notes that we haven't talked about?
Did you notice the Jurassic Park reference? Or at least to me, it seemed like a Jurassic Park reference when Jaskier's under the table and Ciri's calling up the giant basilisk. We see a bowl on the floor and it starts to shake.
It starts to shake. The bowl starts. I noticed it. I didn't pick it up. It might have been a little nod to Jurassic Park. Yeah.
It seems so Jurassic Park to me.
Yeah.
And maybe this will be something we talk about after we do our quotes and everything, but if you continued to watch, there was a mid-credit trailer for the prequel, which will be coming out. I don't know when it's coming out, but it's called Blood Origin.
That's going to be cool. And you said it's got Michelle Yeoh in it?
Mm-hmm. Michelle Yeoh. From what the trailer is showing us, it looks to me to be possibly the story about the conjunction of the spheres, either what happened before or directly after the conjunction of the spheres, maybe how the humans and the monsters came to the continent, and it looks really good. I'm hoping it might also show us the origin of the Witchers.
Nice. That would be cool. So I guess if those are all your notes, all my notes are done. I'm looking to see. I already talked about Istrid, talked about the mages. Yeah. So I've just got quotes left. And my first one is it's kind of a repeat but it's Geralt saying it instead of Vesemir saying it. It's Witchers don't kill out of fear. They kill to save lives. And then of course, Vesemir follows that up with, I said that, but that was BS. So.
One of my favorite Jaskier ones is, the last time I woke up next to you, you grabbed me by the balls and then blew up the building.
That's the one
when Yennefer goes to wake him up.
Yes. And the only other one I've got that we haven't talked about already is Ciri, if you can hear me, if you can hear us, come home. And we kind of talked about that, but we didn't actually read the quote. Mm-hmm.
Loved it. I've got one more written in here, but I put one aside because I thought maybe you might want to say it, but I'll do that next. Jaskier says to Yennefer, what are you going to do? As he's leaving the Witcher laboratory, and Yennefer says, what witches do best, make a potion.
I thought that was good. What's your other quote?
Well, I was going to leave this for you in case you wanted to say it, but I think Jaskier must stay up at night thinking of colorful metaphors for things, because he says to Yennefer, please tell me you're making a hangover cure, because my head feels like it's lodged between the buttocks of a fat and sexually rageful goat.
I heard that one today on the second watch, and I'm going to tell you, I saved that one for you. I knew you would love a good Jaskier quote, and I thought that'll be something Lara will pick up on.
Okay, so. By next season, I need to have at least one good Jaskier quote on a t-shirt.
Very good. Unfortunately, your post didn't garner us any feedback that I could find. So hopefully if some come up, we'll figure out how to work it in.
I have tequila at the ready, people.
And so as we do, let's go into our podcast recommendations. And I have got to admit, I recorded 2 podcasts this week, and both of them I have just blanked on podcast recommendations. So I will let you give yours.
Well, one of my other favorite shows, Outlander, premiered this Sunday, and I really love listening to Outlander Cast with Mary and Blake. They have their own network where they review shows like This Is Us and The Last Kingdom, but Outlander Cast is their flagship show, and it just came out with its first episode for season 6 this week. So any Outlander fans out there, go and check them out.
Very, very cool. And you said at the beginning you kind of want to talk about kind of our overall thoughts for the season.
Yeah. So what'd you think? of season 2 compared to season 1?
Oh God, that's a difficult call to make because I didn't rewatch season 1, so I don't want to make a comparison between the two necessarily. I did love though that we had a lot of callbacks to season 1 that we were able to pick up on. And I think really I was able to pick up on those callbacks because I did watch season 1 twice before podcasting, or I watched it once and then we podcasted on it as having watched it already. So it was a different kind of format for Mark and I when we covered the first season. And so I liked this one. I liked that it had more of a straightforward story. I will say that. So it edges out season 1 a little bit on that, in that we didn't have to worry about conflicting timelines and, whose timeline are we in now? What year is it? Where are we going? I like that they wrapped up some of the big things that we had questions about during the whole season. And we really, it felt like we got better answers to some. And I think the fights were a little bit better. I think the budget may have got ramped up a little bit more. There was that one episode where they really didn't have any monsters, but I think this one definitely made up for that one. Cool. What about you?
So after watching the finale, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole of watching different things, and I watched a couple Netflix behind the scenes things on the making of season 2, and I watched the season. I'd had this in my YouTube queue because I was just waiting to finish the finale to watch the honest trailers of The Witcher season 2.
I haven't watched it yet. I have to watch it. I'll probably watch it tonight.
Every time I see an honest trailer for something I love, I just gotta watch it.
I love those so much.
So I would say, man, it's difficult because I really, really loved season 1. I think I liked season 2 just a hair less than season 1 because, unlike you, I really liked the time switch thing, the twist on the timeline, because when I finally discovered that, my mind was blown, and I just love it when something crazy like that happens. So I kind of like that. I didn't mind the very linear storytelling this time. I liked that we got a lot of big answers to some of the bigger questions. I loved some of the storylines, like Yennefer trying to get her magic back and just trying to cope without magic. I loved getting the introduction of the elves and getting more of their backstory and everything. I liked Frangilla. I liked getting to see her get all ruthless and everything. So I liked those things, but I think this season we lost a little bit of the humor of season 1. Geralt, in addition to, Jaskier being a funny character, Geralt was kind of funny in the first season, all of his grunts and his F-bombs and everything. I think they tried to scale back on that this year and give him a bit more dialogue, which is fine. I totally appreciate Henry Cavill and his acting, so give him more dialogue, but make him lighten up a little too, because he was fun when he was a little bit grumpy and played off of that grumpiness, And let me think. And I kind of missed having the one-off Monster of the Week episodes. I think there were a few more of those in season 1, and in this season, the only one we got was the first episode, which is probably one of my favorite episodes of this season.
I can see that. Those are all valid things. I do like that we have quite a bit of setup for season 3 as well, though. I really enjoy that. I really am good. The speculation of what we're going to do, where we're going to take this, and when season 3 is going to get here is just that anticipation is there.
I think a little bit of that humor and self-referential, like, I don't know, being able to be a little bit, poke some fun at itself is what set it apart for me from other shows like Game of Thrones, or I haven't seen this other one, Wheel of Time, but other fantasy shows. They take themselves very, very seriously. So I always love that The Witcher could poke a little fun at itself, and I hope we can get that a little bit more in season 3.
Okay. That's valid. That's valid. With that, with our YouTube recommendations, we'll throw those Honest Trailers in there. Those guys at Honest Trailers are amazing at what they do, and I'm with you. I almost, if I see them drop and it's something that I'm really, even if it's something I'm not interested in, I'll watch it just to hear the jokes. And I think my favorite Honest Trailer is for Die Hard, which they don't crap on it.
Yeah.
And he specifically says at the beginning, I'm not going to dump on Die Hard. Come on.
I love that one too. And I'll give you just the tiniest spoiler because I gave myself a pat on the back when they mentioned it, but they said something like, you think it's hard being an elf in the continent? Try being a baby. And they showed all the babies that died. I'm like, yeah, I called it.
Yep.
You don't want to be a horse or a baby.
Nope. How about you? What's your YouTube recommendation for the week?
Like I said, I went back and I watched The Witcher Netflix Unlocked Season 2. It's about an hour long, so if you're ready for a good sit down, they've got a lot of good behind-the-scenes information in there.
Well, with that, we will wrap up with our coverage of The Witcher Season 2 with telling you how you can submit your feedback to us.
We can be heard on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast player of choice that you use. If ratings are available, give us a rating or a review on one of those platforms.
You can check out our website. It is panels2pixelspodcast.com. Currently, it redirects you to our Facebook page.
And to submit your theories and feedback, which you should definitely do, go to the Facebook page at facebook.com/panels2pixels.
We are on Twitter at panels2pixels. That's at panels, the number 2, and then pixels.
Or email us at panels2pixels1@gmail.com.
You can catch us on YouTube. You can find us there at Panels2Pixels Podcast. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to us there on YouTube.
We are on Instagram at Panels2Pixels Podcast.
You can check out all the other podcasts on the Next Level Podcast Network. We highly recommend them. Wilhelm, The Melting Pat, Podcast Zero, and so much more. You can go to nextlevelradioonline.com to see all of them. Lara.
Yes, sir.
Everyone has been waiting all week to hear your latest Dumb Idea podcast.
Okay, well, I don't know. We did have the dumb ideas, yes, last week, but this week
that's right.
Can also be a dumb idea, or it can be brilliant. As I was watching the behind the scenes, the two actors who played Cohen and Lambert, they actually were able to talk to the showrunner of The Witcher, and they were giving her a proposal for a Witcher spinoff, which was called something to the effect of Witchers in Space, Cohen and Lamb Chop. And I thought, how brilliant. This could be a narrative podcast that can be content crowdsourced. You know, listeners to the podcast would send an episode idea through, and it would become a fanfic narrative. If we could bring in the actors, they could do the voices for it, or we could just badly imitate them. And I think in their proposal, it said something about Yaskier turns into a lizard, something about space twins, and things like that. So
nice.
Podcast recommendation or proposal: Witchers in Space, Cohen and Lamb Chop on the run, together in space.
I can see it now. Witchers in Space. My Muppets impression there.
Muppets reference.
Yeah. So Daphne and I will be continuing our Snowpiercer discussion over season 3 of that show later this week. You'll catch that episode. Gosh, Lara, this has been a great 8 weeks of podcasting with you. I have to admit, it's been rough. I talked to Daphne a little bit about it. Doing 2 podcasts a week. She's done 3 podcasts a week at one point. So but it has been a joy podcasting with you over The Witcher season 2. I look forward to The Witcher season 3 coming out and us picking this up again or finding something else that we might podcast together about.
Oh, well, thanks for inviting me on, Steve. I had a really good time. It was so much fun. This is the first time I've actually done a weekly podcast. I've dropped in here and there for movie podcasts, but I have a great appreciation for what you guys do. This is such an amazing amount of work and love and passion that you guys put into your podcast. So I am very impressed to see how much you guys put into your podcast. And thanks for having me as a guest.
Well, thank you for being here. With that, I'm Steve.
I'm Lara.
And this was Panels to Pixels, and we will see you on the next panel. Good night.
Good night.